episode from inside the locker room. What's going on, guys? We're so happy to have you guys here again. And on this
Let's go.
episode, we're going to be talking Shador and Travis. They're turning some heads. And then we're also going to be talking about the NFL draft, post draft shakeup. And then we're also going to be talking about some NBA as well. We had some amazing games over the weekend. The Knicks and the Celtics are currently playing right now. But we're about to get into this first off. This morning, the Dallas Cowboys traded for former Steelers wide receiver George Pickens. Deuce, I want to know what you want. What was your first reaction? CD finally getting some help. They're not gonna double team him as much anymore. I mean, I know you're
That's a
happy
key
about this,
target.
man.
Like really, ever since Cooper left and Gallup left, I haven't felt the presence of a strong wide receiver too, y'all know. And this offseason, it was really like the talks were ramping up. Like, hey, like the Pickens is like available, ever since that DK trade. But me being me, I was like, okay, I don't think, and I'm not scared to admit this. I was like, I don't think Jerry gonna pull the trigger,
Mm,
get trade for Pickens. And then when the
yeah,
draft came by, and we heard the talks of the Pickens trade that fell through and didn't go through. I kind of was like, okay, maybe Jerry actually was working towards it. Now, all of this time in the back of my head, like I said, we had Cooper and Keenan Allen on the board, also as
mm,
possible free agents. So I had that in the back of my head too, but I wasn't like too certain that we would get them after the draft.
yeah.
But during the draft, when the draft went by, we didn't get no wide receiver two. And like I told you, I've said this multiple times, I was disappointed. I think Gold and McMillan were right there. But waking up this morning and seeing that Jerry Jones finally pulled the trigger and got George Pickens probably made me the most happiest man alive. You give Dak another extra weapon. Pickens is very good deep. He's a good deep route runner. He reminds me of Des Bryant. Just reminds me of Des Bryant. Got the same like
Ooh,
type.
I like that comp.
Yeah,
I like that.
like the same type of mentality, physicality, and all of that. So
Mm.
I think now that he got George Pickens, I think I kind of see what he was doing in the draft. Tackle all the needs, and he's gonna go get a wide receiver two after. So I kind
Yeah.
of think, and that kind of now makes the whole offseason grade for the Cowboys for me at least an AA plus. Because Jerry knew what he was doing. He just did it weirdly. Like the way he did it is just kind of weird to me. But he got what he needed.
Cloak
He
and
got
dagger.
Yeah, he got all the pieces he needed. He got the depth he needed, and I'm all for it. Now, like I say, later we can get into our season predictions, but right now I just want to ride high that we got our wide receiver too. I think this is good for the Cowboys franchise, and I think
Mm.
if he does well again, he can get back over 1K because he was only 100 yards off last year.
The timing of this trade kind of surprised you in terms of quote unquote how late it was, considering if it was after the draft? I mean, we've been hearing about this George Pickens to Dallas stuff for a while. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
I think kind of piggybacking off of what Deuce said. I think it was honestly the perfect timing because you hit all your needs in the draft, and then people are like, okay, but like you needed a wide receiver, and now you got it. And to me, looking at the trade details, it's a bargain too. You're just
Yeah.
giving up a third next year, and then I believe it's a late round pick swap the year after that. So you're just giving up. You're swapping a 5 for a 7.
Hmm.
So just looking at the trade details, and you're only paying George Pickens about $3.5 million this year. So from that standpoint, with Dallas not having a huge cap room, it makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah,
now you're gonna get a hungry George Pickens who's
for
looking for
sure.
that big contract next year.
And
So I
he
mean, if
already
it doesn't work out, you only gave up a third and like a late round pick swap.
Yeah, and
Mm.
he's already said that he's gonna come out and really try to prove like that he's that wide receiver, so he can get back on the
Hmm.
top of the market. And that's we don't want to hear that right now, but when he has something that he wants to prove to the fans, so I'm all for it. Just if Jerry can make sure we resign him long term, pair him up with CD, I would love it.
And
Yeah, that was kind of no. Go ahead,
as soon
Adam.
as you said the Dez comparison, like that just honestly it makes so much sense because that's what the Cowboys have been lacking. I mean, of course, CeeDee Lamb can break them deep, but he usually ends up catching them a little bit closer to line of scrimmage and then uses his athletic ability. So I think it's a perfect complement because now he can use that athletic ability and he doesn't have to be that like outside receiver. He's still going to get plenty of outside reps, but now you can use them. You can use them interchangeably inside and outside. And George Pickens, like you said, he's ready to ball. He wants to prove it. He wants to earn a $30 million contract next year. So I think you're going to get a hungry George Pickens, motivated, and hopefully not going to do anything on the field. So I mean, it was
Yeah.
kind of a problem for the Steelers because you had two very I don't want to say hot headed, but it might be the best way to describe DK Metcalf and both George Pickens. Like I love DK Metcalf as a Seahawks fan, but at the end of the day, I mean, he got a lot of 15-yard penalties because he was always beefing with the cornerback one, whoever was guarding him.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that now, even with Pickens on the roster, that opens up the Cowboys depth chart at the wide receiver position because
Definitely.
they may have not had all the best receivers, but they got receivers on that depth chart. They got about 6 extra ones on that depth chart that could probably make the roster. So I wouldn't Mingo, Tolbert, all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jalen Torbert was gonna be one of my sleepers,
Yeah, wide
but I
receiver.
mean,
He a wide
he can
receiver
still be the
three.
third guy. Yeah,
He's the
he can be a
third
good
guy. You
third guy
got
now.
Tolbert. We just signed Paris Campbell, so we got options for depth.
So, guys, um, going down the list of topics that we'll go today, and just to give my quick little 2 cents on this on the George Pickens trade as well. I mean, the biggest thing for me is I've been talking about this all season. CD Lamb needs help. CD Lamb needs help. That is why the Cowboys offense can never get going because CD's always doubled, and they don't have a Rico Dowdle anymore. But that Cowboys offense was suffering last year. So adding George Pickens is just a huge help to them now. But going to our next segment here, Shador and Travis made a statement. But before I even get into that, currently, right now, the New York Knicks are down by 5 points, 86
Ooh,
to 81, with
ooh, do they run it back
2:40
again?
left. Can they do it, ladies and gentlemen? We'll see in real time. But speaking about Travis and Shador, Shador chose number 12 to play for the Cleveland Browns, and so did Travis Hunter. But not only did Travis Hunter pick number 12, he also picked number 21 to wear on defense. So he's going to be switching between jersey numbers depending on what side of the ball he's on. I mean, that's pretty sick to me, guys.
That's pretty cool.
What was
That is
your what
pretty
was your
cool.
first reactions to that, Adam? I'll start with you.
I think as far as Travis Hunter and Shador both picking the number 12 jerseys, I think it just shows their solidarity
Yeah,
and just like their kinship as teammates. Also, I mean, I guess there's not anything like negative about number two, but I mean, I think Shador is just also like, hey, this is a new chapter. It's a new
mm,
step in my life. So let
yeah,
me pick a new jersey number as well. And I mean, talking about Travis Hunter, I mean, you're going from 12 to 21. So I mean, obviously, it's the numbers reversed. That's pretty freaking awesome.
mm,
Um, Originally, I thought
yeah,
it was like he was going to be wearing different jersey colors, and I was like, I don't know how that's going to work. But I mean, yeah, just switching the numbers, that's super cool.
yeah,
And I mean, just to touch on fantasy football for just a half a second, I was able to get him in one of my best ball leagues where we do offense and defense. So he's a wide receiver slash DB. So at any point, he could just become my top DB or my top wide receiver for a week. So I mean, I'm just so excited to watch him play because I just hope he can stay healthy, playing on both sides of the ball. But I think if you just give him a few snaps on defense, he can still make an impact. And you never know, he could return a pick six and catch 2 touchdowns in a game, and that's like 3 touchdowns in the bank from one player. It's crazy.
yeah. It definitely felt like they were trying to make a statement. I mean, the Browns could have had both players if they really wanted to. I mean, what if they didn't trade back from number two? But
Hmm.
um, Deuce, what do you think about them changing both having the same jersey number? And not only that, we even had Tom Brady come out and say on Logan Paul's podcast talking about hey, when Shador slid in the draft, I literally texted him, hey, I'm the best person to speak on this. It doesn't matter where you get drafted, just whatever number you go at or whatever team you get placed on to make the most out of it and to truly work your way up in the league. I mean, Deuce, what was your reaction to Travis and Shador making this kind of statement?
Yeah, so like before, you remember I said in the past, like ever since Shador slipped, Tom Brady was the best prime example to look up for that. And a lot of people they clown me for it. They said, "Oh, you don't compare the goats," but like I said before, this is what happened to Tom Brady, happened to Shador. They both slipped. Two really good prospects, and I don't know all about Tom Brady because I didn't watch much of him,
Yeah,
but I know for Shador, a really good prospect that fell. So I really like the mentorship when Tom Brady's saying like, "Hey, like you can talk to me about it. I'm the best person to talk to." And I like the fact that he's wearing 12 because maybe he's looking up to Tom Brady. I want to get to
yeah,
that. We have the same
Yeah,
story. We have
yeah.
the same story. So I want to get to that. And a lot of
mm,
people, like I said, they wanted to call me crazy because I said it, but the truth is right there. Shador, he wants to follow in the footsteps of Tom Brady, and Tom Brady is going to be a good mentor to him, and I like it. About
yeah,
Travis Hunter and Shador both wearing the same jersey, all right, it shows that they're like even though we're not on the same team no more, we're still tied together. We played the same,
Exactly.
we got the same jersey, everything. We're still connected somehow. Those are all, like I say, they're more than teammates. They're brothers at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
like I don't think anybody is saying that Shador is going to become Tom Brady all of a
yeah,
sudden just because of
nobody's
number
saying he's gonna
12.
be
I mean,
Tom Brady, but
Shador literally came out and said, "Hey, don't compare me to no other quarterbacks because I'm about to have my own career. I'm about to have my own
yeah,
legacy." Like he doesn't even like comps. So seeing Shador work 3 times a day, I mean, probably more than that even, probably I'm guessing. But at least I've been peeping, bro. Shador, he works out in the mornings, in the afternoon, and at night.
yeah,
He
and
works he works for
nobody,
breakfast,
like I,
lunch, and dinner.
like you
So
said,
he's putting in the work. So all we're
like
trying
you
to say
said,
is that he puts in that work, maybe he can get to where he wants to be, and we hope he can do
yeah.
that.
And I'm like you said, nobody's saying that he's gonna be like Tom Brady, or but I
He's
think
gonna be
Shador
his
wants
own
to have
player,
like
yeah.
he wants to have the same success story. Like he's gonna put in the work and he's gonna take Tom Brady's advice to get to where he needs to be.
Mhm.
Now, like I said, I don't know about maybe if he chose number 12 just like because he looks up to him. People got different motivations and reasons. He don't want
Yeah,
to be compared to Tom Brady. Look, nobody gonna compare you to Tom Brady. Your career, I'm not, at least. But I like the fact that he's gonna put in the work ethic and actually use Brady as a mentor, like how
Hmm.
Patrick Mahomes is a mentor to Dylan Raiola in college. So I just like that. But about the Travis Hunter and him wearing both jerseys. I like it, but at the same time, I just really don't know how factual it is yet because you
mhm,
got some people saying it's
Yeah,
not fully true,
that's
and you
fair.
got some people
yeah.
saying it's true. So I don't want to give. I'll give my 2 cents in on this. If it is true, I love to see it. It's just gonna be crazy to see how he does it. Cause switching between drives, taking off padding, that's quick. You got to move fast to do that. Taking off pads and them tight jerseys, that's hard.
Can
So
be one snap sometimes, literally. Just
yeah,
like
so it really just depends on how he does it. Now, if it isn't true and I'm still down for, him coming like, wearing the same jersey and him playing offense and defense. It's not going to change nothing. It's just, to
yeah,
me, I
exactly.
think it's
It's
just
just
a
a
number.
number.
It's the player who makes the number recognizable. So,
Hundred
I
percent.
definitely,
And
my fault, Adam. Go ahead.
no, and like I know you said Schroeder doesn't like player comps, but like I've compared him to Brock Purdy at the end of the day, like both with their precision accuracy and athletically, they're very similar and comparable players. And we know Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, and what's he about to do? He might just sign the next $50 million contract. And a fifth round draft pick, it's not quite a seventh round draft pick. But they're perfect comparisons going back to Brock Purdy and Shadur Sanders, and I think it's a blessing in disguise, like a lot of things are in life, that he was a fifth round draft pick. He's gonna have to work for it, and I think Joe Flacco is gonna be the starter, and I think that's a good thing. And he's gonna learn a lot from him, and then when the time comes, I think he's gonna be ready if he keeps putting in the work. And I think one of the best signs also was he showed up to Cleveland very, very early. Like the next day of the
Facts.
draft, where was he? He was walking through a crowd in Cleveland, meeting and greeting
Knicks
at
with another
a
stop.
at a local
Keep
spot.
going.
Nice, nice.
To get into our next segment, we're gonna go back to football here. Some NFL power rankings. I'll give my first top 3 teams first. Like I said, I love what the Ravens did in the draft by grabbing Mike Green and Malachi Starks. I will say that until I'm blue in the face. So I have them as a top
Agreed.
3 team. So another team I have is possibly the Eagles again. I mean, they're reigning Super Bowl champs. Their team is just built to win. Howie Roseman he assembled a roster for years. So I'm still having the Eagles up there. And for my third team, this might be a little bit of a shocker, but I think the Packers are honestly 2 games, maybe, yeah, honestly 2 games away from the Super Bowl because you saw the Packers last year against the Eagles. Sure, it wasn't as close of a game, what the scoreboard indicated, but Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs, I believe, you know, those are some good pieces to have on offense already. But when you add a Matthew Golden and you still have a Dobbs and the receiving core that they have already, I just like what that Packers did off season, and I think Jordan Love is just gonna cook next year. Deuce, who do you have as your top 3 NFL teams?
so I'm gonna keep the Eagles. As much as I hate to say it, they picks that got even they somehow, like we say, they somehow end up getting these good players. The Eagles are still going to ride high. As a Cowboys fan, I hate to say this, but there will be a top 3 team. The Ravens, you can most definitely see them sneak in the top 3. maybe top. I know top five for sure, but top three. That's where where I'm a little bit still deciding. But the way they killed the draft in this offseason, well, not really this offseason, but I give more of the draft credit.
Mhm.
Getting those two key pieces in the first and second round, I think you could see their defense really be a strong force that puts them in the the top three. Now, a team that I say is a sleeper, but not too much, is I low key think the Seahawks. And
Yes, let's go.
I think somehow I just get like the Viking. I get like how Minnesota was last year. They were a really good team, but just and I'm not saying y'all are necessarily going to fold in the playoffs, but Minnesota, their issues, they folded near the end of the season. But
Hmm.
I think the Seahawks can low key be a sleeper team. They got all the right pieces, all the key depth, all the defense is young. They look scary. It's just it's only a matter of time to see how they perform on the field. But for sure, I think my top three right now would be Eagles. I want to say Chiefs. I hate to say, but the Chiefs are going to be
Hmm.
back up there again.
Yeah, they will.
And I you can slide the Ravens to that third spot. Those will be my top three teams: Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
wait,
Yeah, I got.
let
Adam,
me
what you
Oh,
add,
go
think
ahead.
about the?
I'll add something in this real quick. I think most teams are going to see major improvements though in their record.
Hmm.
So
Definitely,
let me just throw that out there. But those will be my top three teams.
No, for
definitely. I
sure.
mean, Adam, well, who would you have as your top three NFL teams and possibly a
Um,
sleeper?
yeah, for my okay, so number one, I'm still putting the Eagles. I saw someone say that their like peak was 17-0. I don't buy that. I don't think that anyone's going undefeated this season, but maybe for a peak. But I think they got the steal of the draft, getting Jahad Campbell at like the very end of the first round at pick 31. To me, he's the best off-ball linebacker, but people don't realize how good of a pass rusher he is, and he's very good in coverage too. So he can do a little bit of everything. So they and with I even heard the idea of N'Kobe Dean might get released because of his contract,
Mm,
and he might not be ready right away. So if that happens, then he's instantly a starter alongside the reigning defensive player of the year, Zach Bond.
yeah,
So the Eagles are still up there, and then on top of that, they're only going to keep getting better. They're projected to get a third round pick from Milton Williams in 2026. So like, and also I think a third round pick for Josh Sweat, and it depends on how well they do this year for like compensatory picks in 2026. But I think they're already going to be really good this year, and they're probably going to add even more the next. So it's like it's never a bad thing when you have a player just stolen in free agency. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise because your team just keeps getting stronger and then they're able to still sign people. So I got Eagles one. Number two, I'm going to go Ravens. I think the Ravens only got stronger. If Lamar can just figure out his playoff disappearances,
yeah.
I think they might be a Super Bowl favorite for sure, top two. And I'm going to just a little bit different than order than do. Same top three, but I'm going to put Chiefs at three.
Yeah,
Anytime you have Patrick Mahomes, a guy that can do everything, just go off script better than anyone, and their defense is still really, really strong. And one of my huge sleepers, they added Jalen Royals. Love that guy. So another speedy, small guy. And he's
mm,
got toughness. He reminds me of Doug Baldwin, as I've probably mentioned a few times on the podcast. So you
yeah,
now have Rashi Rice. We'll see if he gets suspended for a couple games from his
mm,
car accident from now, what, like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
mm,
But that's probably going to happen this season. But then they have Xavier Worthy and they have Jalen Royals, and they still have some other good guys as well, including Juju Smith Schuster, who always blows up for at least one game, and he always looks good in the playoffs as well.
yeah.
Um, Sleeper team, I won't say the Seahawks. I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears.
Ooh.
They added Colston Loveland at pick 10 overall. They already had a really strong wide receiver core, and then they were able to get Luther Burden in round two early, who I had as a top 25 guy, definitely a first round guy. So I think people always hate on the Bears, especially Packers fans when we were just at the draft. And the Packers could surprise too. I think either one of those teams is a great sleeper team. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bears win that division this year. Well, probably not win the division, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do better than the Packers and get in as a wild card team. And like, just to talk about the Seahawks for a second, like, I don't know if it's media bias or like people love California and the East Coast teams, like East Coast bias, but I've seen so many rankings and like I've seen some people project them as like a bottom three NFC team, and like I don't see how that can happen. Julian Love's like the most consistent safety in football, probably. You add Nick Worry in round two. you add Gray Zabel, and then they picked up another couple offensive linemen who were going to be great, in my opinion. And then I really liked, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but the defensive tackle that they got in round 4. He's a sneaky guy. And then you add Torrey Horton in round 5, who he's not DK Metcalf, but he's a large framed, 6'2", pushing 6'3", about 200 pounds, can do a little bit of everything. So I think, honestly, the sky's the limit for the Seahawks. Like, the people keep ranking the 49ers so high, but I really think it's the Rams and Seahawks division to take this year. People even putting the Cardinals in front of it. Like, they have the Seahawks as the last team in the NFC West, which kind of baffles me, but we're always underdogs at the end of the day, so we'll see what happens. And I think the NFC West is going to be, it could be a juggernaut this year. At least there's going to be, it might be like the AL East in baseball, where the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Yankees, they all beat up on each other. And so the win-loss records might not be great, but the Seahawks were the only 10-7 team last year that didn't make the playoffs. So, and we got better. So at the end of the day, I think you get to 11-6, maybe even 12-5. Like, that's a playoff lock at that point.
Yeah, I really liked what y'all did at the draft, and I'll alley-oop this to Deuce next. But my kind of hot take and sleeper team are kind of, intertwined into one. I like what the Chargers did with their running back room. They have a Najee Harris now and Amari Hampton. So just the coaching along with Harbaugh and Herbert, he kind of cooked last year in the playoffs. Let's not forget about that. I mean, they have a Lad McConkey still. They have a Josh Palmer. Maybe they see a Keenan Allen reunion. I kind of doubt that. But, I mean...
And they added Trey Harris, too.
Trey Harris even. So, that's going to be my hot take. I think the Chargers are going to make the playoffs next year. They very much could. I mean, Harbaugh is just a coach who's done it before, and Herbert needed that coach to get over that hump. And, last year, I believe, it was his first playoff game, right? So,
other than when he was the 49ers coach.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying it was Herbert's first playoff game, right?
No.
No?
Like his second?
His second? All right, so it was one of Herbert's early playoff introductions. So we can't forget that Herbert is still a young guy. So, going into another season of, going through the hardships, going through, I guess, the growing pains of NFL QB, I think Justin Herbert is still a top QB in this league. He just needs the experience, and he just needs a better offense around him. But that's the thing. I think the Chargers did improve their offense greatly by adding a Najee Harris and an Amari Hampton. But, Deuce, I want to ask you, before I leave the pod, before I go celebrate with my fellow Knicks fans, what is your hot take for the upcoming season?
Is Patriots will make the playoffs.
No, please, no.
Yes, Patriots will make the playoffs.
I agree with
that.
I
really do think you will see Drake May sophomore leap, not a sophomore slump. I think he's going to leap. I liked how the Patriots brought in Mike Vrabel. You got Drake May some weapons. Stephon Diggs. Who was the player you mentioned earlier, Adam?
Kyle Williams.
You got him. The running back out of Ohio State, Henderson.
Travion Henderson.
Yeah, Travion Henderson. So now he kind of got some weapons. He got an O-line. You got Will Campbell out of LSU. He got the pieces around him to succeed.
He still got Ramondre. Yeah.
So, and then on the defensive side of the ball, the defense is just as nice and still well-functioning defense. I got to look more into I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I watched the Patriots defense. I studied them. But I can speak for the offense. I think their offense dramatically improved. I think Drake May now has the tools to really succeed. Because last year, his leading receiver was just Hunter Henry. So now he has multiple weapons and options to really succeed. And I think the Patriots, they may not win the division. I still think that's the Bills' division. But I do think they are a sneaky playoff team that you need to be on the watch for.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. And just as one player sleeper, just to go back to Kyle Williams, Stephon Diggs is coming back from major injury and he's getting up there in age. Well, I do think Stephon Diggs is going to bounce back. He's looked really good in rehab. I watched a few videos of him running drills. I think he's going to bounce back, but if he doesn't, Kyle Williams could be a huge sleeper both in the NFL and in fantasy drafts, and he could be potentially the wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots. And he's been very, very productive for Wazoo for years now. Washington State University. I say Wazoo offhandedly, but yeah, Washington State University.
You better watch out for Rosary Thomas, though. He's going to lock that boy up from my Jets. But anyways, guys, we want to get into our mid-show break. Adam and Deuce are going to be talking about some Houston Rockets, the the Warriors, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So still stay tuned for that. You're listening to Inside the Locker Room on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Like, follow, and share, guys. We can't thank you enough for all the love and support you guys have been showing already. And let your squad know that is game time every week. I'll catch you guys on the next one. B-Rod signing out.
All
Cool.
right, so just me and Adam here, we're back with after our little mid-show break, and we're talking about the NBA playoffs. It's recently been heating up. Me and Adam's Lakers both just got eliminated, sadly by Anthony Edwards. But this is where we go into the next topic: Timberwolves Warriors. Who do you think wins? Do you think this is Ant-Man's conference now, or do you think he still has to wait his time, Adam?
I probably would have said maybe it's Ant-Man's conference, but that game one was kind of a red flag. He shot 1 of 8 in the first half, and he only had 1 point. So that means he wasn't getting the line. I won't claim that I watched the entire game through and through, but Draymond Green, he's that defensive presence.
Yep,
So
agreed.
they were clearly locking him up, and the Warriors have a lot of sneaky good defensive players and just a lot of gamers, I'll say. I think the one problem is going to be Steph Curry is now supposed to be out for a week. So that's going to be, I think, game 2, game 3, maybe not game 4. So that's probably going to let the Timberwolves back in the series. And if I'm sure Anthony Edwards is ready and very, very hungry to show that was just one game. And he did have a good second half, but he didn't quite look the same as he usually does. So, I mean, if they can win game 2 and game 3 while Curry's out, then it kind of flips the series, and it's going to get really interesting. I think it's going to go to game 7. I do have the Warriors winning in game 7, but I think it's going to be really, really close.
Yeah, so for me, I think just for Ant-Man, I think his time is not. I think it's almost it's on the horizon. It's almost here. But I think what he needs to do in order for me to say this is Ant-Man's conference, he got to win the West. He has to beat the Warriors. He has to beat the Thunder or the Nuggets. So for me to really say that's Ant-Man's conference, it's just not yet. I think his time is coming though. And I think this series is going to really test him because the Warriors have always been a sneaky good playoff team, like a really good sneaky playoff team. And I think even without Curry, they still have the pieces of what it takes to win. Now, yeah, Houston took them to game 7 like last series. And I'm going to kind of like switch this over to the Houston Rockets Warriors little segment real quick where I can talk about that.
Very good.
Yeah, so we saw as of last series, the Warriors and the Rockets to 7 games. And I know I predicted the Rockets wouldn't be coming out this series alive. I said it before, the Rockets were just not ready. Their time isn't yet. They got to wait. The Thunder, they had to wait their time. I think the Rockets had to wait their time. But that comes with the question, Jalen Green, can y'all really rely on him in the playoffs? And this is my question, Houston fans. Can y'all rely on him in the playoffs if he's putting up sneakers every game beside one game? That's my question. So, and what do y'all do about the offseason? Do y'all get rid of him, or do y'all keep really like give him one more year to really prove himself? Because I saw a lot of Houston fans really upset that Jalen Green was putting up stinkers and his presence was nowhere to be felt. So that's just my question. But I will say this. Houston's time will come. I think you need a few more tweaks to that roster. Sengun and Van Fleet, I like them on the roster. Those are really two good.
And Thompson too.
Thompson too. Their core players are really good. Just Jalen Green is the only player I really question because when it comes playoff time, we just saw, and yeah, you could say this is his first year, but he did not do really good. So.
Yeah, and to kind of draw a parallel to the Lakers series, Austin Reeves was one of the best players to end the season, but then he just disappeared in the playoffs. Playoff ball is just different. It really is. The pressure is different. The physicality is different. You don't get as many foul calls. And Austin Reeves got locked up, and that's been Jalen Green's kind of flaw that people draw to. He's always been like a big game shooter. He will have huge productive games, but he kind of, especially before this year, he would disappear. He had a great regular season, so I think, myself included, I thought it wouldn't be a problem, but the fact that he's not putting up the numbers that he should be putting up, yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag, and you do need that like scoring presence because Amon Thompson, he's a great defender. The Rockets, I think, even were able to make it go 7. because of their great defensive ability and their young spark as
Not
well.
to mention they almost came back down 3-1. So I really don't.
Exactly.
I don't want to take away. I think their time is just hasn't came yet. A few more
Mhm.
tweaks to the roster, just like the Thunder had to wait their time. I think the time is on the horizon. I think they're gonna eventually make it past the first round. Maybe not next year, but it will be really soon.
And an important thing to mention as well is the Warriors were fighting injuries, so they were resting some of their players in some of those games. So it kind of let the Rockets back in the series, and then in Game 7, they like locked down and they played some great defense. I think they held the Rockets to 89 points in that Game 7. So I think it was 103-89 if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
honestly, yeah, the Warriors they're looking good. Their number one problem is the fact that they're a little bit older. So I mean, now Curry's going to be out for a week. It sounds like, and the fact that if they can stay healthy, if the Warriors can stay healthy, I think they're gonna win in Game 7. If they have one more injury, it could be the Timberwolves' time.
yeah, and okay, so the last game of the NBA playoffs that and I'm not gonna talk too much about the Thunder Nuggets yet because that's gonna be into a later segment. But
Hmm.
the hot topic right now is that the Pacers are up 2-0 on the Cavs. So, and I want to hear y'all's like your opinion on this. And to my guests, and like in the comment section, I want y'all to like put y'all's opinions on this. Before the playoffs started, a lot of people said the Cavs weren't ready, but we had a few group of people that said the Cavs are going to make it past, and they're going to destroy the Pacers and all this. What are the Cavs doing wrong that's allowing the Pacers to go up 2-0? And I'm not taking anything away from the Pacers game. In fact, the Pacers are playing way better ball than the Cavs, better defense, better offense, everything. And Halliburton just phenomenal right now. So and he can talk all the trash he wants right now. But I really just want to know like what is going wrong in Cleveland right now? Do you think they have what it takes to get reshape and get back and win these next 4 games to win? Because they're already down 2-0 and they're going back to Indy.
Yeah, and it's kind of maybe comparable to the Knicks series as well, where the like penciled in better team is not is now down 2-0, so they're not doing amazingly. But Tyrese Halliburton, he was by a player poll was rated as the most overrated player in the NBA, and that's just giving him so much bulletin board material. That's motivating him, I think, every single day, and he loves it too. Like, and he's a big game player. He's one of the best assist men in the NBA, especially while not turning the ball over. And yeah, he hit a clutch three to win Game 2, I believe.
Clutch rebound,
So
clutch three. So
yeah, and he does everything. Like, he doesn't get many triple doubles, but he's a very selfless player. He's not someone that like goes for them either. So, I mean, he's a guy that can get you 20 points, 5 rebounds, and like 14 assists any given day. And if he gets hot behind the 3-point line, that's when the Pacers are really, really dangerous. So I won't say the series is over yet, but for sure, I mean, obviously they can't take both games, but I think maybe they can even win by Game 5. But I'd say if I'm going to make a prediction, I'd say Pacers in Game 6.
yeah, so here my closing remarks on this basketball little segment that we just had is you're down 2-0. And if I was the Celtics, I'd be scared right now because the Knicks really they came back like down 20 like twice already.
Hmm.
Celtics, I'd be scared, but these other teams that are still in the playoffs, I think the Pacers, I think the Cavs have a really good chance to come back. They just Donovan Mitchell, and you could also give the excuse that Cavs had some of their players out last game. You can give that excuse, but I think the Cavs still has what it takes to still put up a good series and even out the series. But I do think the Pacers may take it in 6 or 7. Now, the Warriors and Timberwolves, I think the Warriors are going to take this one. I think the Warriors are just a more ball ready, playoff ready team. I think Curry even though he's hurt right now, I think Curry and Draymond, they still have that playoff leadership and veteran experience that they
Hmm.
showed to these other guys. So to close this out, tune in, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Tune in to the next episode we record every Tuesdays. Episodes we posted every Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, and comment. Share this to all y'all's friends. And next podcast y'all don't want to miss. We'll be talking about the NFL schedule release, giving our team predictions and all of that. It'll be fun. This is from Inside the Locker Room. This is Deuce signing out, and nice to see y'all later. And Adam,
Adam Blake from Adam B Sports signing out, and you're
We'll see
wondering
y'all
about the
later.
shirt, I'm in beautiful Belize right now, and hey, I just learned my internet connection works well enough, so you're gonna see a lot more of this in these next couple days.
So we'll see y'all later. Y'all tune out. Have a good night.